Mr. Toploaded Gaming, the fucking garden gnome who thinks he's intelligent.
Hey everyone, Trevor at Toploaded Gaming. So I just read this article from Kotaku and it really struck a chord with me. So I want to talk about it. This article was written by Jason Schreier. What they're talking about is Naughty Dog and the whole concept of crunch working, what they view as excessive hours. Getting into this article, it starts off saying, one Friday night last month, some artists at the video game studio Naughty Dog were working on their latest game when they heard a crash. A large metal pipe had fallen from above them and landed right next to their desks. If it had dropped a few feet closer, the consequences might have been dire. It was late, past 9 p.m., and the construction workers above had perhaps recklessly assumed that nobody was down there, but at Naughty Dog, people are always there. The owners of the building reacted quickly, firing that construction team, hiring a new one, and installing new safety measures to ensure that an accident like that wouldn't happen again. To some Naughty Dog employees, however, it was emblematic of an unhealthy culture, the type of environment where a late-night construction accident might take place while people were still at the office. The Last of Us Part 2, the studio's new PlayStation 4 game about people trying to survive in a post-apocalyptic United States, will be out on May 29th. Today, as many of the developers at Naughty Dog put in nights and weekends at the office to finish the game, some continue to ask themselves a question that has haunted the studio for years. Is it worth it? I know a lot of people are probably, gonna read this argument and they're gonna be outraged at this. And to those people and the people that wrote this argument and the developers, I kind of have to ask myself, are you so out of touch with the average working American that you can't see how fucking stupid this is? Like, I'm really genuinely asking that. Okay, I work in the oil field, right? And anyone that works in the oil field will pretty much tell you have schedules like 7 and 7, where you work 7 straight days and then you're off 7 straight days. You have 14 and 7, where you work 14 straight days and you're off for 7. You have 28 and 14, same thing. You work 28 straight days, off for 14 days. And they go further, even people working, 6 months at a time, and they're off for 3 months. Some people work 6 months and they're off for 2 weeks, and then they go back and do it again, right? But what is usually a constant in the oil field is from, the top. Now, I'm excluding, like CEOs and people, but they work in the corporate offices. I'm talking about in the actual oil field. From, the bottom of the totem pole to the person that's making the most money working in the field, the constant you're going to find is they work a minimum of 12 hours a day. Now, me specifically, I work on a crew of 4 people, and we're on call 24 hours a day. Let's say I get called out, and then my coworker gets called out, and then the next coworker gets called out, the next coworker gets called out. When it comes time that I've been out for 11, 12 hours, I can let my boss know, like, hey, I've been out for 11, 12 hours. I'm gonna need relief pretty soon. What happens when everybody's out is you just have to stay fucking working, right? And sometimes it'll happen in excess of 3 days' time, right? Now, to contrast, what these people are talking about is a few Naughty Dog staff have indeed found ways to avoid overtime, working intensely for 8 hours a day and then leaving. But for most of the staff, there's an unspoken social pressure to stick around. Nobody wants to be the person leaving at 6 or 7 p.m. when everyone else plans to stay until morning. Nobody wants to be the one developer who's not there on a Saturday, fighting to make every strand of Ellie's hair look perfect. And there's no one in the office telling everyone to go home. Some of the developers at Naughty Dog are just fine with the studio's culture, which is why it exists in the first place. They are paid well, treated fairly, and given extensive time off at the end of production. Salaried workers aren't paid overtime for work, but they can get decent bonuses after each game ships. As is typical in California, contractors and those working for hourly pay at Naughty Dog are paid time and a half. Here's a key point, all right? Naughty Dog are paid time and a half after 8 hours and double time after 12. But many are on limited contracts and they aren't eligible for bonuses or other perks. For contractors, the carrot of full-time employment was an incentive to put in overtime hours. So the key thing with all of that to me is these people are getting paid anything after 8 hours is time and a half, which is, the regular overtime rate, right? And then anything after 12 hours a day is double time and a half, which is usually a holiday pay rate, right? At least that's how it is in the oil field. Their company is allowing them as much as they want to make and get paid for overtime, right? That is increasingly becoming rare in this country, right? I just told you how I can work 3 days in a row. At some point, if you do the math, 3 days in a row, at some point you're gonna fucking have to sleep, right? Even if it's like a power nap, maybe an hour or two, whatever. Do the math. You're gonna have to fucking sleep, right? So you have to fucking sleep when you're in that position. So you might sneak a nap in your car at some point, right? But my company is not gonna bail me out if I get caught sleeping. That it's just not something that's gonna happen. They're gonna turn a blind eye, pass the buck, right? And then to top that all off, what they do in the oil field sometimes is they have this shitty little fucking deal that is called split week. So what split week is, the way they justify it in their minds is their office is on a time schedule, a payroll schedule that runs Monday through Sunday, right? But your schedule runs Wednesday to Tuesday or Wednesday to Wednesday in some cases, right? So your work week, half of it falls on one payroll schedule and then the other half falls on the next payroll schedule. So they fuck you out your overtime, right? Because just as you're about to make, the 40 hours to get overtime or whatever, payroll begins again, right? So even you have situations where you might work 80 hours, you might work 60, you might even work 30. It all depends on how things are going, but usually it's pretty fucking busy, right? So you end up working 3 days straight and you won't get paid any differently for doing that. I mean, I'm even at a point where I'm not even sure if this shit is legal. It's Louisiana, so it's fucking skewed as fuck, right? But the thing is, the fucking economy is so bad with the oil field right now that I'm not fucking saying anything, right? I'm not putting up a fight at my job. I'm fucking happy to be working, right? But these fucking people that they have people willing to fucking actually pay them for their fucking overtime. This article, it blows my fucking mind. It pisses me off, right? I'd love to fucking be paid. Like most companies, you have to make it to 40 hours before they'll give you overtime. And then they find some fucking excuse not to let you work that overtime. They'll send you home. Right? How many people have experienced that shit? This whole fucking article kind of just glosses over the fact that the entire fucking crew, the entire fucking crew, construction crew, was fired, right? What's the details of that? What's the details of that? There's no mention of how these fucking construction workers are working day and fucking night, probably 12 hours per shift. Do the math, that 84 hours a fucking week if they're working 7 days a week, which is, that's not uncommon for construction or oil field work or port work. It's just not uncommon. So what about all these fucking guys? Was it one dumb fucking moron that allowed this pipe to fall? And then they saying like they put safety. How did they say that? They put in some new safety measures, right? There were already safety measures in fucking place. New safety measures that makes no fucking sense. You hire like you have fucking agencies that govern these safety policies. So what new measures did they fucking put in place? Don't fucking leave something to fucking fall, a fallen object fucking hazard. This shit just makes no sense to me, and it's completely glossed over that all these fucking people have families, and they're just out on the fucking street right now. That maybe it was one fucking guy, or possibly not even their fault. But who the fuck cares? Because these fucking gamers are making thousands of fucking dollars, but the way that they're making their fucking money hand over fist is troubling. It's troubling. So guys, you should totally make a hashtag and tell your truth over this article. I don't fucking buy it. I absolutely don't buy it. I don't feel bad for these guys at all. And I feel like this article is completely out of fucking touch with the average working American in this fucking country that is getting fucked over out of their overtime. Constantly, consistently in this country. Now, one thing I will give them, is they say, it's an unspoken rule that they just want you to work. And I kind of get that, because in the oil field, they'll give you all this safety bullshit, right? Which is why I'm saying that this construction crew, they had fucking safety measures in place, but whatever. In the oil field, you have a bunch of fucking safety bullshit. And it's really all in place. It's really all in place to prevent lawsuits, to try and have it to where the company is not fucking liable for whatever shit happens, on the job, right? So they have what's known as stop work authority, right? Which says it doesn't matter if you're the fucking the boss, the tippy top fucking boss, or you're the fucking lowest dumb motherfucker at the bottom. Everyone on the site has stop work authority. So if you see something unsafe, you can speak up and you won't have, any repercussions from holding the job up. Now, if you know anything about the oil field never sleeps. Not on Christmas, not on New Year's. There's not a fucking day that the oil field does not sleep unless something seriously fucking goes wrong that the government mandates they stop. It never sleeps. So for someone to stop work in the middle of a job, a pretty fucking big deal, right? So even though they have this fucking rule, stop work authority, the second you try and fucking do some shit like that, watch how fast you end up at the house, right? So I absolutely 100% believe that it's an unspoken rule that they're supposed to stay at work, and they're actively seeking out these type of people. All right? But the fucking thing is, you're talking about working for Naughty Dog, making a AAA fucking game. If it's not common sense that that's going to be the atmosphere, I don't know what to tell you. Go work for a different fucking company that's not making a AAA game. Go work for an indie fucking developing company. I don't know what to tell you. But if it's not common sense that you're gonna have to fucking sacrifice and work your ass off to make a AAA game, a game that only comes around once every fucking few years and is polished as fuck, usually. I don't know, this article makes it seem like the fucking game, you know, is an incomplete mess or whatever, so that kind of worries me, right? But if it's not common sense, I don't know what to fucking tell you. At least you're actually getting paid for the fucking overtime that you do work.
Mr. Toploaded Gaming, the fucking garden gnome who thinks he's intelligence.